Hi everyone, I'm Nelle and welcome to my channel. Now, the first video on my channel would have been a how to fill acrylics video, and it was a really bad attempt at it. I didn't get accustomed to having my hand in frame. I still make that mistake sometimes, and I hope this video is a better one of the first vision. The first thing I do when I'm going to fill my acrylics is just cut off the parts that would have been lifted. In this instance, it's not so much lifted as in pried off, because I think I mentioned it in one or two videos before. I recently started to go to the gym, and some of the exercises put pressure on my nails, and one of the weights hit this one, so it kind of just popped up from the back. So you take off what's lifted or lifting, and then you file it down. I didn't really file down as much as I should have on these two nails, because I am using a acrylic powder that is solid. It's not a clear acrylic powder, so you can't really see through it, and I really didn't feel like filing that much, so I didn't file down as much. But usually when you're filling acrylics, you file down until it blends with the natural nail, or as low as possible, so that you get a flawless application. And then you don't file your natural nail, you lightly buff the natural nail so that the new acrylic has something to hold on to. So when you're finished with the filing, I just like to tidy up the station in front of me. So you tidy it up a little bit. What you're going to need after that is a dehydrator. I use the I&M Prep and Step. Following which you apply that to the natural nail. It's not necessary to apply it to the acrylic. And after you apply it to the natural nail, you want to apply some primer. I use the Sassy No Burn primer. Yes, I know usually people use the same line of products, but I just use what works for me and what I think is best for me. You don't have to do it. If you like to stick in the same family line, it's fine. I just like to switch it up. And to stick with that theme, the acrylic powder that I'll be using today is the He and She Nail products in the Glitter Nude. It's almost done. I did a review on it. I love it. I said that in the review. It's not mine in the bottle. I said that as well. Every time I go in the stores to buy it, it's always sold out. So yeah, when I didn't want it, they had a lot, and as soon as I wanted it, there's none. Pretty much how things work. Right, so this part you need the acrylic brush, acrylic powder, acrylic monomer or liquid, and yeah, because I'm filling it, I usually start with a big bead of acrylic, just because I feel as though if I put a big bead in the middle, it helps to build up it helps me build an average what I'm going to do from the back. So if I start from the back, then I tend to put too much acrylic in the back end, and you have a lot more filing to do and a lot more opportunity to damage the cuticle. Whereas if you start from the middle, you are putting the bulk of the material in the middle and then thinning it out as you move back. Right, so if you notice, it's a weirdly shaped lump right there, and that was because I filed the piece from before flat, and now I'm just building back the arch, the natural, in inverted commas, arch on the nail. It was a bit of some sloppy work on my part, to be honest, because I don't know, it just, sometimes it's sloppy, sometimes you get it in one straight. It just depends on the day, and today wasn't the day for me to get it perfect on the first try, pretty much. This nail wasn't really lifted, but because I had a design on it and I wanted the design off and I had to fix it, I just took off some of it so that you'll be able to see me fill it. If you notice, I used a much smaller bead of acrylic on this nail, and the reason for that is because the piece that was lifted was a lot further back than the other one. The other one started about halfway up, so you needed more acrylic to make it a perfect solid nail. Whereas this one, it was more lifting from the back. and so you typically tend to use less acrylic the further back you go, because you want it as thin as possible. And if you notice, this one came out perfectly. 2 beads of acrylic and we're done. It was pretty much perfect. Well, you just have to go back one more time just to add a little bit, because just for the sake of posterity. But yeah, it's pretty much finished, and like I said, sometimes it comes out great immediately, other times it takes a bit of work. But in perfecting it, you just need to make sure you have enough acrylic on the nail so that when you file it, it's not too weak and it's perfectly placed on all the stress points. And as much as applying perfect acrylic perfectly is always a great thing, you can have sloppy application and still in your filing and the filing technique, you have perfect nails in the end. So don't worry too much about the application. Just make sure you have the acrylic down and then work on your filing technique, because I think filing is what defines the nail. Because I've seen people with acrylic that lasted a month, 2 months, but the shape of the nail is terrible, and it I don't know, the filing was just terrible. It was lumpy, it wasn't cute, and the clients are happy with it because that's what they're accustomed to, but it still ain't cute. So I think application and filing is both equal to me, although filing may edge out the application some. Another thing, when I'm filing, I like to just go back and make sure my shape is what it's supposed to be. So right now I have square nails, and I'm just making sure that my square is as square as could be. My nails and my fingers are slightly bent, so sometimes when I'm filing, my nails in particular, they come out slightly twisted. So my middle finger is always one that's slightly bent, because like I said, the nail is bent. So you may have that problem, and then sometimes the clients see it differently from their perspective. So you remember, you need to look at it from all angles when you're doing a client's nails. And this is what the nails looks like when it's filled, filed, and not completely done as yet. So the next step after you file it, you just brush off the excess dust. If you're using a regular top coat, you buff off the ridges from the nails. If you're using a gel top coat, you apply the gel top coat, put it to cure, and when you're finished, you apply some cuticle oils to your nails just to give it that shine and take off the excess whiteness, and you're done. So again, thank you all for checking out the channel. Thank you for checking out my video. I hope to see you all on the next one. I upload videos every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 9 p.m. Trini time or Caribbean time. And again, subscribe. I want to see you all on the next video. Thanks for checking out this one, and bye. Y'all, I really thought the video was done, but then I looked at my nails, and like I told y'all, I love square nails. I love my nails to be, actually not really loving square nails, but I love it to look like what it's supposed to look like. And at that point in time, it wasn't looking square to me. So even though I was finished filming, I went back in and squared it up some more and made my edges sharper and my sides squarer and straighter just for y'all. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. Those two are the ones that I filled. You see how they just fit right back in. Again, subscribe.